Pay attention to the young woman in the Arizona State University hoodie walking through this mall food court. She is 19-year-old Emily Rodriguez, a psychology sophomore, carrying shopping bags and checking her phone. The timestamp reads 2:23 p.m., March 23, 2024. She just bought a dress for her upcoming spring formal. In the background, near the service corridor, a man in a mall maintenance uniform watches her intently. He's been following her for 20 minutes across 3 different stores. She does not know it yet, but this is the last time she will be seen alive. March 25, 2024, Phoenix, Arizona. Emily Rodriguez had been missing for 48 hours. She had not attended her Monday morning psychology class, the first class she'd missed all semester. Her roommate, Kayla Chen, reported her missing Sunday evening. Emily's silver Honda Civic was found in the Westfield Mall parking garage, locked, with shopping bags inside. Her phone went to voicemail after 4:47 p.m. Saturday. Her last text, "Found the perfect outfit for spring formal, heading to one more store." The case was assigned to Detective James Mitchell of Phoenix PD Missing Persons. Emily Rodriguez was 19, a psychology major at Arizona State University. Dean's List student, 3.9 GPA, worked part-time at the campus library. She was close with her family in Tucson, parents Carmen and David, younger brother Alex. Her roommate described her as the most responsible person I know. Emily had been dating Tyler Bennett, a 20-year-old engineering major, for 8 months. They were planning to attend spring formal on April 6th. That Saturday, Emily went to the mall to find a dress. She was supposed to be back by 6 p.m. for movie night with Kayla. She never made it home. Detective Mitchell reviewed mall security footage with security manager Tom Brennan. What they found was chilling. The footage showed Emily entering Westfield Mall just before 1 o'clock, smiling and relaxed. She browsed at Nordstrom, ate lunch at the food court. Then a man in a tan maintenance uniform appeared, watching her. When Emily walked toward Forever 21, he followed, staying 30 feet behind. At Sephora, he lingered outside. His eyes never left her. At Macy's, he was visible in the background as Emily purchased a blue dress. The man followed Emily for over 90 minutes, tracking her movements, waiting for the perfect moment. When Emily headed toward the parking garage, the man followed. Both entered the parking garage stairwell. There were no cameras inside. 8 minutes later, the man exited alone. He was no longer wearing the maintenance uniform. Now he wore a black hoodie and jeans. Emily Rodriguez never appeared on camera again. The man wasn't mall maintenance. The uniform was a disguise. He had hunted Emily Rodriguez for over 90 minutes. Tom Brennan checked records. No maintenance was scheduled for Saturday afternoon. Facial recognition returned results at 2:20 a.m. on March 26. Derek Anthony Sawyer, 34 years old, address in Phoenix. Detective Mitchell pulled Sawyer's record. Unemployed. Fired from mall security at Westfield Mall 6 months earlier. Criminal history, 2018. Stalking arrest. 2020, restraining order from ex-girlfriend. 2022, trespassing at Arizona State following female students. Sawyer worked security at Westfield from July 2022 to September 2023. Fired after multiple complaints about following female shoppers. Termination report. Inappropriate fixation on female customers. Termination effective immediately. After firing, Sawyer's social media showed increasing anger about women and rejection. Sawyer had worked at this mall. He knew the layout. He knew where cameras were and where they weren't. And he'd been planning this using his insider knowledge. Forensic teams processed Emily's car on level 4. Locked. Shopping bags inside. Blue dress. Makeup. Phone under driver's seat. Battery dead. Keys missing. Purse in trunk. Emily hadn't put it there. No struggle inside the vehicle. Emily never made it inside. Forensic team deployed luminol. Under UV light, blood spatter appeared near the stairwell entrance, 20 feet from Emily's car. A pool of blood was discovered on the stairwell landing. Hair samples collected, long, dark brown. Fabric fibers on the railing, tan polyester matching the maintenance uniform. Enhanced footage captured Sawyer's license plate exiting, Arizona DXM 4729. Traffic cameras tracked his vehicle north on Interstate 17 toward desert areas. Emily's phone showed last activity at 4:16 p.m., an unsent text draft to Tyler. OMW to car. She'd been attacked in the stairwell. Derek Sawyer ambushed her in the one location with no cameras. SWAT executed a warrant at Sawyer's apartment. He wasn't home. The door was unlocked. Inside, evidence of weeks of planning. Hanging in the closet, the tan maintenance uniform stolen from the mall. On the wall, a map of Westfield Mall with camera locations marked in red. Blind spots circled in black. The stairwell labeled "No cameras." On his desk, printed photos of young women at the mall. 15 different women photographed without their knowledge. Among them, 9 images of Emily Rodriguez. Different days, different outfits. He'd been stalking her for 6 weeks. In a notebook, Emily's routine documented in Sawyer's handwriting. Usually shops Saturdays 1 to 4 p.m. Parks Level 4, silver Honda Civic. Computer search history from March 20th, 22. How long until missing person becomes homicide? Arizona desert disposal sites, Westfield Mall camera blind spots. Cell phone records showed Sawyer's phone last pinged near Tonto National Forest, 78 miles north of Phoenix. This wasn't a random attack. Derek Sawyer had selected Emily Rodriguez, studied her patterns for 6 weeks, and executed his plan in the one place police couldn't see. Detective Mitchell obtained warrants for GPS data and financial records. Sawyer's phone GPS showed he left Westfield Mall parkings, garage, and traveled north on Interstate 17. His phone arrived at a remote location near Cave Creek in Tonto National Forest, remaining stationary for over 2 hours. His phone then traveled back toward Phoenix, arriving at his apartment. At 9:22 p.m., his phone powered off permanently. Credit card records showed the planning. 2 days before the abduction, Sawyer purchased $243.18 worth of supplies from Home Depot: shovel, tarp, zip ties, duct tape, bleach, work gloves. On the day of the murder, he purchased gas twice, once heading north, once returning south. Derek Sawyer purchased burial supplies 2 days before the abduction. GPS placed him at a remote desert location for over 2 hours the night Emily disappeared. This was premeditated murder. A multi-agency search operation mobilized at the Cave Creek coordinates. The search area was brutal, remote desert terrain, 6 miles from the nearest road. Cadaver dogs, helicopters, and forensic units deployed. A cadaver dog named Scout gave a strong alert on disturbed ground approximately 40 yards off a desert trail. The area was partially concealed by creosote bushes. The ground showed signs of recent digging. Excavation began. 18 inches below the surface, they found a blue tarp. The same brand Derek Sawyer purchased at Home Depot. Inside was Emily Rodriguez. She was still wearing her Arizona State University hoodie and jeans. Her hands were bound behind her back with zip ties. Duct tape covered her mouth. Next to her body, shopping bags from Macy's and Sephora containing the blue dress. Detective Mitchell called Emily's parents. Carmen Rodriguez's screams echoed through the phone line. David Rodriguez collapsed. Tyler Bennett broke down in his dorm room. Kayla Chen sat on the floor of the apartment she'd shared with Emily, unable to process that her roommate was never coming home. The autopsy was performed by Dr. Lisa Park, Chief Medical Examiner for Maricopa County. Cause of death: asphyxiation due to ligature strangulation combined with severe blunt force trauma. Severe trauma to the back of her head. Skull fracture from being struck against concrete. Ligature marks around her neck from a zip tie that had been tightened to the point of cutting into her skin. The hyoid bone in her throat was fractured. Petechial hemorrhaging covered her eyes and face. Death took 8 to 12 minutes. Emily had been conscious for several minutes after the initial head trauma. She was aware of what was happening to her as she died. Defensive wounds covered both of Emily's hands. Deep scratches, 3 broken fingernails, bruising across her palms. She had fought desperately to survive. DNA recovered from under Emily's fingernails confirmed a 99.7% match to Derek Anthony Sawyer. She'd scratched his face and arms during the attack. Toxicology showed no drugs or alcohol in Emily's system. She'd been completely sober, alert, and aware as Derek Sawyer strangled her to death. An arrest warrant was issued for Derek Anthony Sawyer for first-degree murder. His vehicle was found abandoned in Flagstaff. Security footage showed Sawyer purchasing a Greyhound ticket to Albuquerque, New Mexico, paying cash. The FBI was alerted. Interstate flight charges were added. Phoenix PD received an anonymous tip. A man matching Derek Sawyer's description had been spotted working at a day labor site in Albuquerque using the name Dan Miller. FBI agents and Albuquerque police converged on the construction site. Derek Sawyer was spotted wearing a construction vest and hard hat, another disguise. When he saw police vehicles approaching, he ran. Sawyer sprinted through the construction site, vaulting over lumber, cutting through an adjacent warehouse. FBI agents pursued. He burst into a parking lot where 2 officers were waiting. He was tackled and apprehended. Visible scratches covered Sawyer's face, neck, and both forearms, defensive wounds from Emily Rodriguez's desperate fight for her life. In his backpack, $2,800 in cash, a fake Arizona driver's license with the name Daniel Miller, and a Greyhound bus ticket to El Paso dated March 31st. He'd been planning to cross into Mexico. His laptop was recovered. Forensic analysis retrieved deleted browser history. Countries without extradition treaties with United States. How long does DNA evidence remain viable? Can police track bus passengers without ID? Derek Sawyer had been building a new identity, planning to flee the country. But Emily Rodriguez's DNA under his fingernails ensured he would never be free again. Derek Sawyer was extradited to Phoenix. He was interrogated by Detective Mitchell at Phoenix Police Headquarters. Sawyer initially waived his right to an attorney. Detective Mitchell confronted him with the facts. 47 security cameras captured Sawyer following Emily for 90 minutes. The stolen maintenance uniform in his apartment. The notebook documenting Emily's routine. 9 photographs of her taken over 6 weeks. Her DNA under his fingernails. Her body found exactly where his GPS showed he'd been. The Home Depot receipt for the tarp, zip ties, and shovel, all purchased 2 days before he killed her. Sawyer initially denied everything, but when confronted with the GPS data, the security footage, the physical evidence, he went silent. Then he confessed. Sawyer admitted that Emily had smiled at him once in February when he held the door for her at Starbucks. He thought she was interested. So he came back every Saturday, watching her, documenting her routine. He'd worked security at Westfield for over a year. He knew exactly where the cameras were and where they weren't. He stole the maintenance uniform to blend in. Maintenance workers are invisible. On March 23rd, he waited for Emily in the parking garage stairwell. When she entered, he grabbed her. She screamed. He covered her mouth. She dropped her phone and bags, tried to run. He grabbed her hoodie and pulled her back. She fought, clawing at him, scratching his face and neck. He slammed her head against the concrete wall. She went down, bleeding, but she was still conscious, still trying to crawl away. He had zip ties in his pocket. He bound her hands behind her back. She was begging him to let her go. He put another zip tie around her neck and pulled it tight. She kept trying to pull it off, scratching at his face and arms with her bound hands, but she couldn't get it off. It took 8 to 10 minutes. She kept trying to breathe, making choking sounds. Finally, she stopped moving. When asked why he killed Emily Rodriguez, Sawyer's answer was chilling. He killed her because she smiled at him once and then ignored him every time after that, like he didn't exist. She had everything: college, boyfriend, family, future, and he had nothing. He killed her because he could. Because for once, someone like her had to pay attention to him. But Emily Rodriguez hadn't taken anything from Derek Sawyer. He'd lost his job because he stalked customers. He had nothing because of his own choices. And he murdered an innocent 19-year-old college student because he couldn't handle the fact that she didn't owe him her attention. Derek Anthony Sawyer was charged with first-degree murder, kidnapping, and sexual assault. His confession, captured on video, would be played for the jury. Emily Rodriguez's DNA under his fingernails, 47 security cameras documenting his 90-minute hunt, and his own words admitting to premeditated murder would ensure he died in prison. Emily's family attended every day of the trial. They heard every piece of evidence. They watched the mall security footage of Emily's final hour, smiling, shopping, completely unaware she was being stalked. They heard Derek Sawyer's confession, his emotionless description of how he murdered their daughter. They were there when the jury returned after deliberating for 6 hours. They were there when the guilty verdict was read on all counts. They were there when Derek Sawyer was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, plus 30 years consecutive for kidnapping, plus 25 years consecutive for sexual assault. Justice, imperfect and insufficient as it was, acknowledged that Emily Rodriguez mattered, that her life had value, and that the man who took it from her would spend the rest of his days in an Arizona state prison, exactly where he belonged. Emily Rodriguez was 19 years old. She was a Dean's List student with dreams of becoming a counselor to help people. She went to a mall to buy a dress for a college dance and never came home. Derek Sawyer will die in prison for what he did to her.